Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me again on another episode of Powerhouse U. Today, I am accompanied by Miss Alicia Milton. I have actually known Miss Alicia for a while now. We're actually both in the same investment group, and she actually has a background in property management, which is why I just had to bring her on to share information with you all on how to manage retail assets, office assets, which she does in fact have a background in. So, Alicia, tell the people who
Yes.
you are.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for having me on your show.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Milton. I am a commercial agent here in Arizona, the Phoenix metro market. I have over 12 years of commercial property management experience and also brokerage experience. I've been in the commercial field for over 24 years and have a lot of experience in many different fields in leasing, brokerage, managing. So you name it, I probably have dabbled in it. So
yes, which is
lots of fun.
which it is actually. I would actually have to agree because I did asset management for a while. Aside from being confined to a cubicle, I actually didn't mind it at
Yeah.
all. So yes, so actually, so we're going to get down to the Q&A portion of it. Yay us.
Yay.
Yay. All right, so we both actually have a background in property asset management, like we discussed earlier. And then, two, a lot of people don't know what the difference is between asset management and property management, which I only know what asset management is, and you really did. You broke down the difference to me real good.
Yeah.
so, so yeah, tell the viewers what the difference is between property management and asset management.
Sure. So the short story is that asset management, their concern, their goal, their focus is on the overall financial health of the investment portfolio. And the property manager really takes care of the day-to-day tasks, the managing of the property. So those are the two differences. The asset manager has to make sure that the investors' interests are protected. They want to make sure that the expenses are low so that they can turn around and send out those dividends on a regular recurring basis. The property manager makes sure that the property is functioning well, that they are collecting the income, and also making sure that they keep an eye on the expenses. They work directly with the vendors.
Okay, so property managers work with the vendors, asset managers work with the landlords.
Yes, the asset managers work with the landlords. They also ensure the investment worthiness of the investors to make sure that they can send out distributions. And so many times the property managers report to the asset managers, and they can be in different companies. So the property managers are usually third party entities unless the ownership owns its own entity and self manages,
Mm-hmm.
but that's usually how it's structured.
Right. And then when asset management comes in, that's when you're basically doing the reports, the financials, the forecasts on whatever time period they're requesting it. And then two, as an asset manager, you also handle the leasing of the space, right?
The property manager does.
The
Yes.
prop. Okay,
Well,
so when it's
so it depends. So let's break that down. So it
okay,
depends on the asset, right?
okay.
So I've worked with Colliers, CBRE, and I'm with KW Commercial now. And how it's structured is normally the asset manager is either a part of the ownership or have been hired by ownership, or they are one of the investors that are in that portfolio. And
Mm-hmm.
so that asset manager helps to hire the property management. And if the property management differs from the leasing team, then the leasing team and the property management team are both reporting back to the asset manager. And so the asset manager is the one that says, hey, we have to hit a certain number. We have to hit a certain number for leasing, or we need to be 100% occupied.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we are, then that property manager, it's their job, their duty, their due diligence to
Mm-hmm.
keep the asset manager abreast of what's going on. So if there's plumbing leaks, if there's capital items that need to get completed, then the property manager usually sends a monthly financial report to the asset manager so that they can take a look at it, extract the information out of there, and put it into whatever their format is so that they can issue it to their investors. And that's how, the team works together to keep everybody on the same page and abreast as to what's going on with that asset.
Okay. So in your experience, does the property manager work on site or off site?
It depends on how large the asset is.
Mm-hmm.
So when I managed, I was on site. I was at a 200,000 square foot property. It was
Mm-hmm.
office property and it had 3 floors. And I was on site. But when I was there, I also managed about a million square feet of products. So I managed that office building. I managed some retail products and also land and industrial property. So I was able to manage those other properties remotely because they were different sizes. I
Mm-hmm.
had a 50,000 square foot office. I had a 100,000 square foot retail center that I managed remotely, all from the office. Because those of you not familiar with office takes a lot of work. It keeps you very busy.
The office does
Yes,
compared to retail
anything.
and really?
Oh yeah,
See,
yeah.
now that's news to me. Why?
Why? Because there's a lot going on with the office. So I had a 63,000 square foot tenant that was a call center. And so they had a lot of activity. And the call centers, they usually have long hours. So they started at 5 a.m. because a lot of their clients were back east.
Mm-hmm.
So me being in Arizona, back east, depending upon what time of year, is 2 to 3 hours early. So they had to have a morning staff. And I think they had like 3 or 4 shifts. And so their last shift ended at 9 p.m., right? Because then you have the folks that are on the West Coast that are an hour behind at times. So because you have those long hours, that's what, 12, 15 hours a day. Being here in Arizona, you have to consistently run AC. And so you could have AC challenges, you can have security challenges, you can have all different challenges to where you need janitorial staff, and we were full service.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of activity. 63,000 square feet, can hold
There's a lot
several
going on.
hundred. Yeah, and it's hundreds of employees coming in and out. And so you need to make sure the lights are on, everything's working, the electrical, all of that stuff. So we were very busy. We had a building engineer and a team to help us. But yeah, I consistently had to be available, and it was busy.
Yeah. And then you said you have how many years of experience in asset
In
management?
commercial, well,
Yes.
in commercial, over 24 years.
Okay.
So I started leasing luxury suites at the Rose Bowl Stadium in California. And then when we moved down here, I did some property management of uh, private space.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Colliers, where we had different contracts with various investors and owners.
Okay, which is good. Okay, and then so you did mention that you did handle the leasing portion, which is good
Yes, I've
because
handled leasing.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
so which is opening up more questions here because people that listen, we're going to be dealing with investors, we're going to be dealing with small business owners, et cetera, even people that want to get into a brick and mortar location after having, you know, a home business or whatever they have in mind.
Mhm.
Now, so if we were to talk about leasing for a
Yeah.
minute, how would you say, what would a business owner have to do in order to prepare to enter into a new lease?
That's a good question. So there's a lot of things that they have to prepare for. One, I would say make sure that you have your team in order, okay? And your team, uh, many many owners think that they can secure a building on their own, and they can. If you're a savvy owner and you're familiar with real estate and have that type of knowledge base, you may be able to do it on your own. But I recommend most business owners hire an agent to help advocate for you, because as agents, we are in this business every single day. We know the ins and outs of it, and we can advocate on your behalf to get you free rent and all of this other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so your main part is to make sure, if you're a new business, to have your business plan available so that a landlord can see it and know how you plan to walk out your business. It also shows that you put some thought into it and you're testing your plan. Talk to other people that are doing your same profession, that are in the market, see what's advantageous for us, for them, and see what's not advantageous for your business. And then stay away from things that are not. Know who your target market is, because you need to include that in your business plan. And then you also need to make sure, and this is one of the key things that a lot of businesses don't do. If you're a new business, you need a pro forma statement. Um, if you are a ongoing business, you're going to also need your financial statement. And the difference between the two is, for new businesses, you're estimating what type of income you believe you'll have based upon, fact that's in the market that's happening now. Being an existing business, you're already showing your performance, but you'll need to show that, because you need to prove to that owner that you have enough funds saved up to be able to pay for your overhead. And that overhead includes your rent, the expenses to operate your business, right? And then a little bit for just in case, stuff happens. So you want to make sure that you have those things included.
Okay, yeah. So you have it to have your stuff in order, and
You
before
do.
even presenting yourself to the landlord and such. And then so leasing from both sides. You know it as the agent, and you know it from the asset manager side. So
Uh-huh.
when dealing with you, I would assume that you'll be a good pick because, like you said, you know from both ends. So when somebody comes to you and then they say, I'm interested in opening a location, and I would assume that you would tell them if they don't have everything to get all this together first and then come back and see me. And then two, credit I would assume is important too. I don't know if we mentioned that either.
It
And
is
then
important.
very important. And then two, when it comes to picking a location, does the business owner usually come to you and tell you where they want to go, or do they try to get your background and try to have you help them figure it out, or how does it go?
Yeah. So it's a combination, right? Because I am with KW, which is Keller Williams, but when we're dealing with commercial, it's KW Commercial. I am also a realtor. So you know that we can't steer anyone in a particular direction or location. So we don't do that because it's called steering. You guys can look it up, or you can reach out to me to know more. So how I usually handle that is I ask them, okay, so what market do you want to be in? What area, what city, what location do you want to be in? Who's your target market, right? And many, many businesses, like every day I hear this. Well, I want to be in Phoenix. I want to be in Mesa. Gilbert's good. Buckeye's okay. If you guys are looking at a map, go ahead and look it up. That's like two ends of the city. We have the East Valley, the West Valley, and they're mentioning all of this. And so how I figure it out is I say, okay, where do you live? Okay, you live in Scottsdale. Okay, is that North Scottsdale, South Scottsdale? Okay, South Scottsdale. Okay, so near South Scottsdale is the 202 freeway. Is it important for you to be by a freeway? Yes. Okay. So sometimes I'll ask them their why. So if they get, shipping in, if they are a distributor or something like that, then being close to a highway is important. Okay, how close do you need to be to the airport, or how close do you need to be to the highway? And then we branch out and I ask a lot of questions to figure out exactly where they want to be. Are you okay with driving an hour to work? Because if you're not, it's not going to make sense that you live in Scottsdale and you want to shop in Buckeye, right? That doesn't make sense. But how far do you want to drive? Oh, you want to be 15 to 20 minutes? Okay, this is where you live. Here's your radius, and these are all the properties that are available in your area.
Okay. And then too, I know from my experience as well, you get people that lease space and don't really have a long background in what they want to open the business for. How do you handle that? Let's just say you
Yeah,
have a teacher and he's like, you know what, I want to open a security company because, I heard it's a lucrative business and I just want to get started and I'm thinking about leasing this space. How do you handle it?
very delicately. I've had a number of people, because we're all gifted. You can make money in just about anything, right? So I say, okay, what's your passion? What speaks to you? Because if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to stay committed, and then you'll break your lease. And that's not what it's in for, right? Because I represent you, you represent me, because I'm telling the landlord that you're a good tenant. We value you. This is what you're going to do, right? And so we want to make sure that you are set up for success. And if you're not sure what you want to do, that's going to be how you operate your business and how you're going to operate your finances. So what I do is I sit down and I ask them, okay, so what's your goal? What's your focus? Okay, it's this. Here are a couple of referrals, because I have referral partners. I've been out here for a while. I talk to a lot of people. I have life coaches, business coaches that are, they're trusted, they've been proven. Some of them are my friends. And so I refer them to a qualified professional that can help them identify what they should focus on. And then they will work with them to get their business plan done.
Okay, yes, because a lot of people have admirations of being entrepreneurs, opening
Yes,
locations, but what they want is not the same thing they have a background in because they're like, I'm tired of doing this. I want to do something else. But it's important
right.
to have some type of experience, background, or even have a mentor or somebody to set in place as management or to oversee everything. So you're just not going in with a blind's eye and your business is one of the ones that fail because you
Right.
did something totally different than what you have
Right.
20 years worth of experience in. And that's what we don't want because we want you guys to succeed. Okay. So
See.
free game right there. Okay. And with 20 years of experience comes 20 years worth of stories.
Yeah. Yes. I joke with my family all the time. I'm like, oh man, we should write a book. I need to
Man,
be jotting these things down. Yes.
man, tell me something that happened and you're just like, wow.
You know, I thought about this so much after you asked me. And I just kept thinking of this one instance. And it's going to be colorful because I couldn't think of anything else. However, I
It
have
must
lots of
be
stories.
that.
Right.
Oh
So
Lord.
we were doing construction. Um and it was a new building. We had to get in there. It was a trusted vendor that I used, but these GCs, they use also subcontractors, right? And some of you guys watching this know that when you're using a GC, that uses subcontractors, sometimes you have just colorful people. And so, some of the subs were bringing dates back to the building. And we had our janitor show up to clean, and it just was not a pleasant sight. So we have to deal with
What?
yeah, so make sure, lesson learned, make sure you have cameras, make sure they're motion cameras and that someone's monitoring it, and make sure that it has a speaker so that your security professional can speak in there and say, I can see you. Please evacuate the building.
Are you
So
serious?
I'm serious. It's crazy.
So
You
somebody
know,
took someone on a romantic date to a
yeah,
construction site,
yeah,
and we're just going to keep this G because you could only imagine what happened.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Look.
Horrible. There was one time that I took a property over from another manager, and I'm very detailed, right?
Mhm.
Because for me, it's not just a job, it's more of I'm taking care, if someone's entrusting me with their property, and I'm taking care of this building as though it was a child because it can't take care of itself,
You're
right?
right.
And then within that building, there are other occupants that are running their properties. And so I took over this building one time, and it was owned by a private entity. And that's another thing. A lot of these owners are not large corporations. You do hear in the news that they're large corporations. They're not. I dealt with a lot of mom and pop owners that were wealthy. They saved their money, they reinvested it, and talked to Jacqueline and I. If you are the mom and pop entity and you want to get in investing, because that's what we do as well. Um, but they owned a building, and when I got this building, there's a process that we do when we take it over. We make sure that everybody's paying their rent and things are operating. But I met with each tenant, and the ongoing thing I heard was the building had leaks. And I'm like, okay, so that's interesting. Well, there was a leak that occurred. We had 100-year rain, then we had 1,000-year rain back to back. And in this, the whole south side of the building had mold in it. It had been leaking for years. So not only did we have to reinforce and clean up that whole south side of the building, we had to fix the roof. And I'm the new manager coming on and saying, "Hey, can you let me hold 150,000 so I can fix your building?" That
Right?
was a tough call. Yeah,
No. Wow.
yeah.
And I would
So
hope that they had insurance in place to take care of
they did.
this.
They
Okay.
did. Yeah,
Okay. Did you
yeah.
have to
They did.
wait for it to rain to see where the leaks were?
No, no,
Okay.
I can see evidence of it, which
It was
is
coming
why I
out of
was
the
so
wall.
surprised.
Oh,
Yeah,
horrible. Man,
yeah.
that's bad and sad. Um,
Yes.
the, all I could think of is that property manager before you could have done better. And
Yeah.
but you just
Yes.
inherited a problem, which is unfortunate. And then too, so we're backtracking a little bit because I think too that you and I might want to talk again and talk about what it's like to take over a property as a new
Sure.
property manager, because I've done
Yeah.
it before too, and it's a long and tedious process, especially.
Yes.
And if you're dealing with 1 million square feet, you're like, yay me, but not
Yeah.
really.
It was an experience, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Um, I like being on the investment side though. Let me say that.
Yeah, I
And
must say too, though,
yeah,
from my experience, it was working asset management and seeing those checks come in that made me want to switch over and be an agent. Because after the lease is done, and or when a property sells that you're working on, and you're sending them checks out, you're like, wait, hold up, I think
yeah,
I want to be on the other side. So I
yes,
mean, it wasn't really the money that motivated me a lot, but it was an extra push, but
right.
asset management actually is not, it's not a bad job, and especially with us being agents, and if you're an agent investor, you already know, what you're getting into, and what to do. And I could say too,
Mhm.
it must be nice to be a landlord, because you buy this building and then you give it to somebody else to take care of and just say thank you,
Yes.
just send me my money.
Yes, but landlords, make sure you stay in contact with the
With the
people that you hired.
exactly.
Don't,
That is
yeah,
very yeah. And then I know you said I like I said I only know from the from the asset management side, we were required to send reports out every month on the same exact day, and you bet not be late on all these
yes,
properties. And I think I had about 25 in mine, and that's
yes.
that again. It was a good job, but every job isn't perfect, and sometimes you're just like, I really got to do this today.
Right?
But it was fun nonetheless. So before we go, is there anything you wanted to leave the viewers with? Anything you wanted to say? And then too, I'm going to shout out that Alicia actually has her own YouTube channel as well. So I'm gonna put a plug in for her, and I'm gonna let her finish from there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm just starting out with my channel, so I'm watching you, Jacqueline, because I love what you're doing. So trying to catch up there. I would just say if you're an investor, reach out to us. We have a lot of knowledge. My focus is really growing communities. I want our people as a whole, to be able to give back to the community. And you can do that by bettering it. Doesn't mean necessarily pushing the occupants out, but making it beautified so that they have a better place to live. If you are a youth, reach out to us if you want to know how we're doing it, because that's my heart song. I want youth to be also able to invest. So please reach out. And if you are a veteran, there's some opportunities that you have available to you. So make sure that you reach out as well, because my husband's a vet and we have a lot of vets that we're around, and that's a passion that we have. And can you say, ladies?
Ladies.
Ladies, we have the GOB Inc. If you're not familiar with the GOB, reach out to both Jacqueline and I. We're members. It's free. It's free financially, but we do request a bit of your time so that you can partner with us to grow all of our members that are within the network. And that is a network of apartment investors and also just general investors. We invest in retail, single family, triple net properties. So reach out to know more. Maybe we can talk about that.
Yes. Yes, because clearly, uh, like I said, free game. I talk to Alicia all the time, as I do a lot of the people that I talk to on this channel. So I'm not just throwing people on here. A lot of the people that I talk to, just like Alicia, have a lot of experience and background in the industry. They know exactly what they are talking about, and that's why they're here to educate me and to educate you all on what it's like to own property, lease property, tell you step by step on how to do it, because a lot of people come to us, have questions, and all the questions are the same, or they just don't know at all. So that's what this is for. So yes, if you are in Phoenix, this one right here is who you want to
Guess
talk
what?
to.
Guess what? We
What?
have a GOB Arizona.
You
We're doing
sure do.
our first local meeting in September. So if you're watching this and it's before September 20th, you got to come out and see us. We're going to be at our office. It's the Keller Williams office in Tempe. So I'm super excited about that. It's Brian Geiger and I. We're getting it together. It's going to be so much fun. Jim's flying out in September, and Daryl will be out for an underwriting session. You
Yes,
want to know
and
about underwriting?
yes,
Come
and
see about us.
yes, and we're in the group with Daryl too. So shout out to Daryl, and thank you for being featured in episode 8. So if you haven't seen that interview yet, go and look at it. So that is the end of this episode. Thank you again for coming. I
Thank
appreciate
you, Jim.
it. There will be a part 2. I'm not going to let her go anywhere because she's full of information, full of advice. And I can tell you that this is one of the people that I love to talk to. So, yes, I will stalk her and tell her that we're doing this again. So, all right, you guys, we will talk to you again later, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care.